Hey guys, Infidel1258. Today I want to talk Riftwatchers. I want to specifically talk about the price appreciation on some of these cards. I want to look at the summoners and the legendaries, and I want to look at about a week ago price points and now where they're at today. Because we were talking, are they overpriced, are they underpriced? And we've seen some of these cards move big. So let's look at the prices exactly and where they were a week ago. And then also at the same time, let's talk about, do we think this is heading in the right trajectory? Is this growth sustainable, or are certain cards getting away from themselves and maybe they need an opportunity for correction? If that sounds interesting, stick around, stay tuned, like and subscribe. And guys, something like 6,500 people following the channel. Thank you very much for that. But if you're interested in this sort of content, Splinterlands specific content, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Okay, thanks guys. So I did a video on Friday the 30th. So it's actually only 5 days ago, not a week. But there's been some significant price differentials since then in some of these cards. And specifically in that video, I was talking about the summoners, and this is a still shot of that video. It's called Riftwatcher Legendaries Overpriced or Cheap. And we actually talked about the summoners and the legendaries. And the summoners, I think it's pretty interesting to watch how their prices have moved, because frankly, they haven't. In fact, they've gone down. With the exception of Skargor and Ilthane, all of them went down. And Skargor is excellent. And I was saying a while ago, like when we were still in the testing, that Skargor was the best. Skargor was number one. Thispa was number two, I think I said. And I might have been the other way around, but I think that they're both the strongest, and I think that's become evident particularly with some of the specific connections between the summoner and the legendaries that are available in this amazing set. So we can talk about that, but because the synergies are kind of necessary to understand. You got to understand how the summoner fits with the pack, and the legendaries are key. And so how do they work with these summoners? And that's partly why I think Skargor has really taken off, because Skargor, of course, partners really well with Coral Lurker. I mean, Mordius, of course, also. But Coral Lurker has seen a real boom in its price point. Not so much in the last 5 days. Actually, in the 5-day window, that price appreciation has really spiked and has ticked down a little. No, check this out. The price currently $27.72, and the date is October 4th, Tuesday, and it's about 3 p.m. So Coral Lurker is selling for about $27.70. Yep, $27.70 right there. And that's for the regular foil edition. And 5 days ago, the price was $29.79. And so in fact, we have seen a reduction since 5 days ago. But it's important to know that when I was recording this video 5 days ago was the day after I think I saw Bulldog, or maybe it was later that same day, where Bulldog was talking about how important this card was and how synergized really well with the enraged Skargor. And of course that's true, and certainly that's been almost an overnight acknowledgement of the meta. And we've talked about it on the channel tons of times before, and we're always going to have to keep coming back to it because it's so true. When we see new cards come to the game, you don't know how good they're going to be until you really see them demonstrated and their usefulness is presented. And it's not always clear, because no card comes alone. No summoner works alone. No single monster works alone. There's always synergies between summoner and monster, between monster and support. And so, you might think to yourself, in fact, I did, like I said Skargor is one of the top two. I think I said number one, but definitely top two of these new summoners. But you don't necessarily, and I think I talked about Coral Lurker. I definitely talked about some of the other amazing partnerships, including Alamo Cambio with FaZe. But you don't know until you see it in action. And then you see a video, from a public member of this community like Bulldog come out and talk about it and show it at work. And suddenly everybody recognizes it. And then it starts to blow up in value. But the question is that sustainable? Is that sort of attention and that sort of direct purchase power and moment, is that a wave or is that a sustained buying pressure? I suspect it's a wave, and that's why we saw the Coral Lurker go from, I think, $20 to $30 that almost the same day, and then simultaneously over the last 5 days go down a little bit. And I think this is a solid card, an amazing card. It's an amazing card, obviously. It works very well with that partnership we just described, but it also works in so many other ways also. The thing is, there's not enough people in the game that there's going to be constant and eternal buying pressure for any one card, no matter how good it is. At some point, everyone who's interested gets it. Now, it can never be the case that everyone gets it because there just simply isn't enough, especially at the max levels. That's just not possible. But, you know, for intents purposes, if you just want 1 copy or 2 copies or 3 copies, and this thing gets pretty dang good at second level, which is silver, where the phase kicks in. And so I'm going to argue that, you know, most people who are interested are going to want 3 copies, and they're going to want to use it in silver or in gold. But if you can get it all the way to the top, you're going to be much better off with that extra melee and the thorns kicking in there, and the extra hit point too. But that buying pressure only goes so far. Is there 1,000 people that are deeply interested in having 3 copies? I don't really know. But I think clearly we see spikes, we see ebbs and flows of attention, and Coral Lurker is an example of that. And I think the question is, do we see more reduction in value before we ultimately see kind of a sustaining of the price point? So hard to tell. But I just want to really point at the trend here, because not just Coral Lurker, we're focusing on that one because it's really important. But if you look at the summoners one more time, so the only 2 that went up from these epic summoners are Skargor and Ilthane. Currently, or a week, 5 days ago, Skargor was $4.80. Today it's 80 cents, 60 to probably 80 cents more, depending on how many copies you want. And then Ilthane is selling for $5.70, and it used to be selling for $5.30. Those are relatively this, you know, that's not a huge price appreciation, not as if it doubled. And so prudence is my point. Prudence and patience appear to be ruling here in sort of your opportunity and your financial opportunity. Yeah, if you bought Skargor 5 days ago, you've seen some price appreciation. Has it been dramatic? Not at all. You know, it's been rather modest, even though I argue Skargor is quite good. But if you look at Dallin, he was $4 5 days ago, and now he's at $3. If you look at Aquatus, he was $3.70 5 days ago, and now he's he's $4.25 5 days ago, and now he's $3.70. So you're getting 10 to even, like, I'd say, you know, 30% discounts on some of these summoners. Fernheart is $4.30 now. He was $5. You're talking 10 to 30% discounts on these summoners. Vispa was $6.20. Now it's selling for $1 cheaper. And so I really think prudence and patience is the lesson here, and we've seen it time and again with whether it's Chaos Legion this happened, whether it's new reward cards that launched. You can look at, man, there was some crazy price appreciation on some of the reward cards, such as Venari Wavesmith, or even staying with the water team, the legendary Genoshanis. Genoshanis was 20, 30, 50 bucks at one point. Now it's $2.40. And Wavesmith was, I think, I want to say $7-8 per BCX. And now it's 2 cents. And so I really think we need, and now I want to say Chaos Legion is different than Riftwatchers. Chaos Legion, there are far more copies, more packs, and therefore it's not a direct comparison, but I think there's a lesson to be learned. Prudence, patience is the key. You don't want to necessarily rush out and fill your boots at the beginning of a launch, because at the beginning of a launch, there's no supply in the market, and as a result, the prices necessarily spike. I just think we've seen it with the summoners, and I suspect we could see more reduction in the ones that are least desirable, and possibly continue ticking up in things like Skargor and Ilthane, because they're standing out to the crowd. But you know, it's always good to price dollar cost average into your positions. So if you want these cards, regardless of whether they go down or up tomorrow, I encourage you to just take little bites at a time. Every day, week, or month, grab a couple more until you feel satisfied that you got the summoner you actually want. If you want Skargor, buy one today, buy one tomorrow, buy one until you get that 46 that brings you to that max level, or to that level that you need. Don't wait for that price point to be quote unquote low. You know what I mean? Like for the whatever level you think is low. It's not wrong to have bought it 5 days ago, even though even though Dahlin was $1 more expensive, because you didn't know what was going to happen. And like I said earlier with that one example between Skargor and Coral Lurker, all it takes is one video, one kind of moment in our community where a card blows up and the value goes out of far higher. It was 30% cheaper, maybe roughly $20, I think. And then one video, $30, and the price is ticking down, but that's relatively stable. And I think all these prices continue to tick down for the foreseeable future, but some of them are interesting opportunities now. And so I do think these summoners are definitely an interesting opportunity now, especially if you like Dahlin, especially if you like Aquatis, especially if you like Fernheart, especially if you like Thispa, and certainly still if you like Skargor or Ilthane, but to a lesser extent. And so I'm saying I'm interested in buying. I have 200,000, I have $140 that I'm probably going to deploy some bid buys in here and get some of these guys queued up, because I did sell. I opened packs and I sold some of these at higher price points when they first launched. They were even higher than what I showed you 5 days ago. And if we went back to look at one of those videos, these are some of the prices on the summoners on the initial day of the launch when I first accessed my open packs. This is dated September 28th, and notice Skargor was selling for $5 per card, cheaper than it is today. Dahlin was still at the $4 price point. Aquatis was even more. Ilthane has been relatively stable. Fernheart was sure expensive out the gates. Almost, I would say 30% cheaper today than it was on the 28th. Thispa was quite a bit cheaper too. I'm going to say, more expensive, 30, 40, even 40% more expensive. And so it's just such a radical roller coaster of price changes over such a short period of time. This is not at all uncommon. And if you're buying cards today, I want you to just kind of think about this, because definitely there is some changing opportunities. Look at this. This is September 28th. Look at Runemancer Flora selling for $17. Ra selling for $18.50. Runemancer Kai selling for $17, and she's gone up a little. She's gone up a little, and Coral Lurker, which was at 22 then, has gone up $5, $6, $7 per BCX. So these two, Kai and Lurker, have gone up. Everything else on the legendary screen here has gone down from today's price point. Flora is currently selling for 11. Ra is currently selling for 10. Mortius is currently selling for about 7. Runemancer Atuat is selling for like 4. Aegir Longtail is selling, I think, for 17. Let's have a peek at that again. Yeah, okay, 19.25. So that's pretty much the same price. You'll notice again, Runemancer Kai has gone up a lot since a few days ago, but at launch it was selling for 16, 17 bucks. And so if you get new packs at any point in the future, recognize this trend. Or if you play the game and you get reward cards that are brand new to the game and you think, wow, I love this card, sure, but you can usually sell amazing reward cards for a lot more at the initial release because the supply isn't there and the demand is. And that's the real point of the video here, guys. I want to demonstrate the fact that there's a reliable and consistent lack of supply. When a card is new, the cost goes crazy. If you sell into that opportunity, you can buy into it later. And I sold my Flores for, like I say just a moment ago, this is a video from when I opened them. I'm selling them for 17 bucks. It's a great card. It definitely is. And I said so then. But here's the problem. It's 11 bucks now. So, I mean, can you go wrong with this approach? Sure. If I had just kept my Coral Lurkers for 20 bucks, I would have been happier financially, right? They were $22 on launch day. If I kept my Aggro Longtails, I would be happy because the price has been stable. If I kept my Runemancer Kais, I'd be happy because the price has gone up. But in very rare situations, are you going to see that the price goes up after supply starts coming online? Almost always. And in fact, I think in the next coming weeks and months, we will see continued new supply for these cards reaching the marketplace, which probably pushes downward on the prices. So in conclusion, definitely take be excited about every new card that comes out in the game, and on immediate launch, recognize there's going to be a lack of supply. That's an opportunity you could take advantage of, and then watch the market as if you're able to sell into that, even when you love that card, recognize that there's often a buying opportunity coming down the pipe when supply reaches the market, and there's always going to be new supply as the packs are ever being sold and delivered to the marketplace. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm going to start looking at putting in some bids for Rumancer Flora. I definitely want that card, especially in conjunction with the new Earnhardt, who's going to allow that close range. And, there's context where that 1-2 partnership could be permissible, could allow you to win. I don't know if it's an excellent 1-2 combo, but, in a higher mana match, I'm going to love having that beast in the back line dropping huge archery and magic damage. And then Aquatis has really come down, Fernhardt's come down, Thispa's come down, even Dallin. And I don't necessarily care about quote unquote the meta summoner. What I care about is having options on my tool belt. And if these prices continue to fall, even if I don't love Dallin, for instance, I will gladly add that to my toolkit. And it might even be a situation where the conversation switches, not just from, are the prices going to continue getting lower? It's right now, that's where my mind's at. Are they going to keep getting lower? Or are they going to go up? I think they continue to get lower, except in rare situations where they're uniquely meta defining, as we described with Coral Lurker perhaps, or even with Rumancer Kai. But the question's not going to stop there. It's actually going to turn into a different question, and this will be a separate video, and we'll leave it there. I want to start wondering, when does the need for me to look at selling my existing death summoners or water, like you can replace your summoners. You don't need to, just because you have a Chaos Legion summoner or you have a beta summoner, you don't need to always keep it, even if it's amazing. You can ask yourself whether the value to sell it is going to be, and the money you're going to be able to pocket after you sell that is going to allow you to equip yourself in a new direction with a new summoner and have extra value left over. And that's a really fun decision to explore, because it can allow you to rethink your entire approach to playing Splinterlands and possibly to extract more value for the time and attention you're committing to this game. So guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. Hope you enjoyed this one. And I'd love to see in the comments section below whether you guys think that these prices are going to go up or down. Do you think Skargor and Ilthane are the only ones that are worth purchasing? Because it certainly seems that they're the only ones being bought up. All the other prices are dipping on these summoners. And the same with the legendaries. It looks like Coral Lurker and Rumancer Kai, and to a lesser extent Agor, are the ones people are loving. And the others have really suffered over the last, since September 28th, which is roughly a full week. So guys, have an amazing day. God bless.